Analysis versus Analytics. Hi, I am M. Asif Hussain from KnowHow Academy. What are we going to learn from this video? We are going to understand what is meant by analysis, what is meant by analytics, what is the difference between analysis and analytics, and what are the different types of analytics we have in the world. Whenever we talk about the word analysis, many people think that we are going to do some sort of analyzation which is not kept on pen and paper. I am going to analyze that, okay, tomorrow there might be the rain. Okay, that is the analysis that you are doing. Now let us think that this analysis that you are doing, which there is no reason, which there is no past for it, which there is no reference for it. So this is the gossip that we are talking about regarding the analyzation part. In general, I'm talking about. But what about the real analysis that we have in the techno world? That I'm going to explain it to you here. So many people, they think that the analysis and the word analytics these two are similar. Many people think that these two are similar, but the answer is these two are not similar. Analysis is different, analytics is different. Okay, so we need to have a proper understanding to get the exact meaning of what exactly is analysis and what exactly is analytics. Let me give you a small example. In whichever company we are working, obviously it is 100% sure that we have to work with the data of anything, right? So when I have got the data set from my company in which I am working in, for example, so you want to do the analysis for that particular data set. It means that, for example, if I take the data set of the employees in an organization, so you need to do the analysis for that particular data set. What is the employee ID? How many employees are there? How many departments are there? Which department has how many employees? Who is taking the maximum salary? Who is taking the lesser salary? What is the average salary? How many people are present? What is the average present rate? What is the average absent rate? So you need to do a lot of analysis, right? So if I consider that you have this particular data set, okay, when you have this particular data set, you need to do the analysis of all those things about the data set. So what's happening here is that if you try to do the analysis in the overall data set that you have, for example, you have millions of records in that particular data set, then it is very difficult to analyze that particular data set. As simple as such, it is very difficult to analyze that particular data set. Am I right? So the point is that in order to make that particular analyzation part very easy, when we have huge millions of data set, what we do, rather than completely focusing upon only one biggest data set, we try to make it into multiple data. So employees belonging to HR department in one separate data. Again, employees depending upon the IT, they are into separate data. Employees from finance, they are into separate data. So when I try to segregate it separately, individually, then it will be very easy for me to do the analysis on each particular data set. Am I right? So what's happening is that when you are trying to make this huge data set into multiple different parts, that's what your analysis comes into the picture. That's what the analysis comes into the picture. So in order to do the analysis for any particular thing, it is required that it should be present with you already. Without having this data, we cannot have the analysis. Am I right? It's as simple as such. You need to have some past to do the analysis. Okay, so if I even tell it to you, when in most of the analyzation part, I am also a data analyst. So in the most of the analyzation part, what's happened is that we will just think about how this happened, why this happened. These two are the very important questions. We always think that in the analysis part, how it happened and why it happened. How did my particular sales, perform in my recent years? How did my revenue perform in my recent months? If there is any footfall, if there is any loss, if there is any decrease in the sales, if there is any decrease in the revenue, if there is any loss in the profit, so why did I get the decrease? Why did I get the loss in my profit? Why did I get the loss in my revenue? Why did my sales got down? So this why is the very important question when I am talking about the analysis. Okay, so my dear viewers, when we are talking about the analysis, it's all about the prediction, perception. So here we are not involving any sort of technical stuff in it. Here we are not involving any sort of mathematical knowledge in it. So that's very clear. In analysis part, we are not involving any mathematical part, right? We are not talking about any figures or numbers here. We are just talking how it happened, why it happened, purely depend upon the data that is happening with us, which we have it readily with us. Which we talk about the past. Now if I talk to you, this as a very important part, the one which I am talking to you is analytics. Okay, the one which I am talking to you is analytics. So analytics is what? You are going to predict something about the future. In analytics, what you are going to do? We are going to predict something about to happen in the future. This is very much important. What's happening in the future with the data, with the scenario that we are working in, whatever it might be. So the analytics part, it will explain us about the future prediction. Analysis part will give us the past prediction. Okay, so you need to explore what you could do in the future with the particular problem statement that you have got into it. Okay, so in this part of analytics, what we need to think? We need to think logically. So that's where our data scientist, data engineer, these people will come into the picture when we are talking about the analytics part. So here we have to think something logically. So if I talk to you still much more in detail, there are two types of analytics that we have. Okay, there are two types of analytics that we have. One, we have quantitative analytics. The another one, we have qualitative analytics. By the name itself, you might have understood what is quantitative and what is qualitative analytics. So quantitative analysis, it is purely depend upon the analysis, how and why. It purely depends upon how and why. For example, how this particular revenue got down or got lost? Why did it get lost? Why did it get down? Okay, that is quantitative analysis that you are doing it. Now, when I am talking about the qualitative analysis, this particular qualitative analysis, it involves the logical thinking. It involves the computational thinking. It involves the reasoning thinking. Okay, we will apply some formulas. We will apply some statistics. We will apply some equations. We will apply some probability in order to find or get the probable solution for the problem statement. Okay, then we are going to do some prediction. Now you might think that let me give a simple example of a bakery. Okay, we all go to a bakery a lot. There are big bakeries in the market nowadays. So if I talk to you about the bakery, so we go to bakery and we see that there are different sections in the bakery. All pastries in one side, all breads in one side, all cookies in one side, right? We have different categories when we go into a bakery. Now, your customer is coming to you, and your customer is always coming to you and choosing for the bread items. Let us consider that your bakery is very good in making very nice and yummy tasty breads. So now they are coming and opting for breads to you multiple times. So now you can analyze that, okay, so these many customers are coming for me in these many months, and this much is the sales that I am getting it for my breads. Okay, so what you are going to do, you are going to analyze, right? For the quantitative I'm talking about, you are going to analyze, okay, so breads are in high demand, so my bread sales is going up. So how is it going up? Because these are the scenarios, and why I have to make it much more increase my sales. Then you have to give some prediction. So that comes under the analysis part, which you have readily the data with you. Then on that data you are working with it, which is about the past, right? That's where the analysis comes into the picture. But when we talk about the analytics, so using the analytics based upon the data that you have, based upon the sales, based upon the profit, when you compare to month by month, month over month, year over year, quarter over quarter, okay, if you try to measure by using some formulas, if you try to calculate it using some mathematics, if you try to calculate it using some equations, if you try to calculate it using some statistics, you can predict that, okay, so this can be my sales, this much can be my profit, this much might be my revenue if I introduce some different flavors of bread, if I introduce some different flavors of pastries, if I introduce some offers with it. So that's where I can increase my revenue, that's where I can increase my sales. So what you are doing, you are predicting something about the future. That's where your analytics comes into the picture. How are you predicting it? For example, 10 rupees is my profit today, and you are expecting for 100 rupees profit for the next month. So what are the different situations that you need to undergo? What are the different parameters you need to consider in order to make your profit or sales 100 rupees for the next month? That you have to sit and work together using a formula, using an equation. That's we call a qualitative method. That's where data scientist, data engineer comes into the picture. So this is the difference between analysis and analytics. So ultimately, if we see that analysis will purely work upon how and why with the data which is already existing with us, we can talk about the past. But analytics, we are predicting something about the future, to the future. That's where our analytics comes into the picture. So this is the difference between analysis and analytics. But my dear viewers, analysis and analytics both are not similar. They have each advantages. Okay, analysis is different, analytics is different. So what are we going to learn in data science? In data science, more of the analytics comes into the picture. Very few percentage of analysis comes into the picture. So thank you for choosing KnowHow Academy as your source for IT knowledge. We are always here to help you to navigate the tech world. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. Stay curious and keep learning.